finance in our world is not very much talked about, and we don't know what we don't know, and this is why we're sharing this information. So if you want to take a screenshot, it's every Monday 7 p.m. Eastern. You can pick your time zone, and the Zoom code is on the flyer. So the person who invited you, they can send you a reminder as well, but please make sure you put this on your phone calendar so you will be getting a reminder. And if you're in my community, I send out a lot of texts, so you'll definitely be getting reminders, right? Super excited, and my money team, the real estate squad, and I are doing a home buying webinar this coming Wednesday at 6:15 p.m. This is a Zoom. I will tell you whether you own a home or not. This is information that's going to bless you, because guess what? You might know somebody who's going to ask you for a mortgage broker, or you might know somebody who's going to ask you for something in the form that has to do with real estate. And these guys, David and Steven, they are amazing. And they're going to be giving some really good information on home buying process. So like I said, even though you may own a home or you don't own a home, this is information we all need to know. And these guys are selfless, and they're the best. So again, you can take a screenshot, right? The Zoom code is on the flyer, and this is this coming Wednesday at 6:15 p.m. Also, this coming Wednesday, Black Financial Matters, which is part of a group that I'm in, and the first Wednesday of every month, we had such an overwhelming response for Black History Month in February that we decided that we're going to run this seminar once a month, and it's going to be on the first Wednesday. So please take a screenshot of this flyer. The Zoom code is on the flyer, right? And this is going to be, it says 6 p.m. Pacific because that's California time zone. But again, if you're in New York, it's going to be 9 p.m. our time, right? 9 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time zone you're in, just Google it, right? But 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific. This coming Wednesday, it's the first Wednesday of every month, Black Financial Matters. And then on Thursday, March 5th, right? On Thursday, March 5th, we're going to share information on saving 10%, tree rules, and the tree goals. If you do not know what that is why you need to be on this Zoom, right? With my girl, Michelle Correa, who was actually my mentor in the business when I first started back in 2017. So she's going to be kicking off the 7 p.m. And then we have Jerica all the way in Hawaii, who's going to do the 10 p.m., right? And then we have Monica Roman, who's going to be doing the Spanish webinar at 9 p.m. So lots of opportunities for us to push this information out so more people can know and learn what is it we're doing and how we can be a blessing to them with this information. The same way how someone has blessed us with this opportunity, exposed us to it, and now we know better. We do not gatekeep. We don't keep information to ourselves. We share it, right? OMG. And I'm super duper excited. Listen, guys, when y'all hear my voice get higher, you know it's extra. We bring in the extra. But I'm going to calm myself down, and I'm going to have Kim Grant speak on this flyer and the amazing things we're doing in the church community. So Kim, unmute your mic, and this is so you can talk about this.
Okay. On Saturday, this Saturday at 10 a.m. in Brooklyn at my church, we're having, in celebration of International Women's Day, we're having a symposium on Saturday where we'll be talking about caring for caregivers, physical fitness, which will be led by yours truly, and financial readiness, which will be Odetta King. So come, invite everyone. It's a free event. And for anyone attending, you can just dress comfortably because we're going to have fun. And the event is co-sponsored by the two women's organizations of the church that I am a member of, both the Mothers Union as well as the Episcopal Church women. So we're going to have fun. So if you know anyone in Brooklyn, they can just come by, stop by. It starts at 10 o'clock and we're going to have fun.
Awesome. And do you want to also share the other stuff that you have in the pipeline with churches that we're doing?
Oh, and today, this is my share. Today, I went to a Mothers Union anniversary service in the Bronx. And I spoke with the branch leaders of the church in the Bronx that I went to, as well as another church in Brooklyn. And I'm going to another service in New Jersey at the end of the month where Odetta and myself and our team is going to be going either physically or by Zoom doing workshops with the church members. So, and I got a surprise interest because I was speaking to one person and someone else overheard the conversation. And she was like, oh, I was actually looking for someone to talk about financial education because within our community, that's not something that's spoken about. So when she overheard what I was talking about, she gave me her contact information. And she actually called me when I was on the Zoom, when I was waiting for us to start. So I'm going to call her back because she's excited about it. And she said she will try to log on tonight to just see Faith and Finance. But moving forward, she wants to have her own, class or seminar together about faith and finance. So
awesome. Someone put in the chat, what's the name of the church in the Bronx?
St. Mary's Anglican Church.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Elizabeth used to live in the Bronx, I think. Guys, my personal goal that God has laid on my heart is to share this information with everybody, right? And so we know that people go to church and, if everybody's doing well financially, this will push the kingdom even further, right? Because at the end of the day, we need money. The lights got to be paid. The church building got to be paid. All the activities got to be paid, right? That's going to take money to even keep the church door open. So church people also need this financial information because we know that the Bible says money answers all things. So if you belong to a church, let's have a conversation how we can do a financial literacy education at your church, whether that's going to be on Zoom or in person, right? So I'm super duper excited for this one, and I'm ready to go. All right, coming up at the end of the month, right? Once a month at our office at Flatbush Junction, 2174 Flatbush Junction, we do have our Coins and Conversation where we feature business owners, entrepreneurs. So it's going to be a 2-for-1. So it's a pop-up shop from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if you know anyone that's a business owner, an entrepreneur, and they want to showcase and promote their business, definitely share this flyer with them so they can get in touch with me. Also, if you are a client of ours or you're someone who's just been, checking us out, but you haven't done anything as yet, I will strongly encourage you, especially if you are a client, right? Because a lot of time what we see is client, they get these strategies and they know it's good, but they don't really know how good it is, right? You know what I mean? They get it. They know it's something good because Odetta told me to get it, but they don't really fully understand how powerful these strategies are to their financial success. And so on March 28th, we're going to have a couple of our key business partners. We have attorney Yvette Short, who does will and trust. She's an estate planning attorney. So I will tell you firsthand, if you own a house, please, for the love of God, I am begging you people to put it in a trust. Okay? Do not go on Google and download form, please. Houses in America is very expensive. And you know how much papers you had to sign, Okay? You know how much documents you had to sign. Okay? So imagine if you're dead. Imagine if you in a coma, right? Imagine when you pass away, what's going to happen to this house if you're not there to sign all these 101 papers? Please, for the love of God, I am begging my people, those of you that have properties, please get in touch with us so we can put you in touch with our estate planning attorney team, have a conversation with them, and put your house in a trust. Can somebody tell me, if you don't put it in a trust and you don't do nothing, or maybe you have a will, can somebody tell me, what do you think will happen? First of all, are you in control? Let's start right there. This is faith and finance. If you do not put your house in a trust, let's just start with the control aspect. Are you in control? Put it in the chat. What do you guys think? If you do not have a trust, right? And God forbid, the good Lord calls you home tonight, what happens to that property? Can anybody tell me what's going to happen to that property? Well, first of all, we already established you're not in control. You're not in control. If you don't have a choice, you don't control it. If you're in a coma, right? Oh my God, I just found out another one of our friends was in a coma and then he died. He never came out of the coma, right? So maybe you're going to the hospital for a minor surgery like my dad did a couple of years ago. He went in the hospital for a minor surgery. Next, you know, everything went haywire and he was in a coma for weeks. Chaos. Okay, so if you have a house and your house is not in a trust, I am telling you, for the love of God, it's a sin and abomination on me to know this information and not share it with people. Because first of all, you're not in control. Secondly, when you pass away, right, because we don't know when that time is going to be, but when you pass away, who is signing for all those 100 papers? What's the plan for the house? Are we giving the house to the kids? Are we giving the house to the grandkids? Are we giving the house to the spouse? Do not think it's just going to disappear. You got to put things in place. And if you don't put it in a trust, it will go to probate court. And when it goes to probate court, you're no longer here. So you have no control. You have no say, right? Now your kids or your grandkids or your spouse, they're going to have to deal with the chaos and the probate court system, right? And now you like pretty much just give up your rights, and the government, the court, the judge, they're the one that's going to assign somebody to look over your case and decide what's going to happen. And your family has to spend money and go to court back and forth, back and forth. And guys, we already know when we're dead and there's assets involved, what happens? When you're no longer here and there's assets involved, what typically happens? Is it going to be a honeymoon phase? Right? It's not a honeymoon phase. There's always going to be that one person who is not going to be fair, or who's going to be corrupt, or who's going to want to say, well, mommy said I should have it. Well, mommy's no longer here and mommy didn't sign nothing. Right? And then you may have someone like me who's going to say, well, I want to keep it. We're not going to sell it. We're going to keep it. Mom and dad work hard. Let's keep this property for generations. Right? And then another sibling may say, no, I want my money. Sell the house. I want my money. It's going to be chaos. Okay? Do not, I'm telling you from personal experience, do not think that your kids or your grandkids, whoever, is going to be a kumbaya moment. It is not going to be a kumbaya moment. So it's going to cost them. So everything that you're working so hard for right now, please, at our pop-up shop, Attorney Yvette Short. Okay, let me mute somebody. At our pop-up shop, Attorney Yvette Short will be there. And again, get the knowledge, get the information. Even though you might not be ready to do anything right now, start having the conversation and get the information, right? Because, boy, it's a lot of documents you got to sign. And if you're a homeowner, you know how much papers you had to sign. And just picture you're no longer there to sign all those documents, right? And so if you are a client of ours and you own some of our strategy, we're going to have a special guest, right? Someone, a company representative high up, vice president of the company, who is going to be in the building, right? And he's going to be sharing information. So you don't have to listen to me. You're going to hear the same message from somebody else, right, who is with the company, Transamerica. So please, please, please make sure you guys come on out. March 28th, it is a Saturday. And it's going to be, the pop-up is from 2 to 7. But if you want to come for the seminar is going to be at 3 p.m. to 4:30, right? 3 to 4:30. So it's open to everyone. It is totally free. And again, our job is to give the information, right? So a lot of you may or may not know, because I'm also streaming live on social, right? I launched my 6th book, yes, How to Stop Spending Like the Masses. Because the number one reason I see why people are not good with their finance, they say they're not making enough money, but the spending is out of control, right? The spending is way out of control. So my 6th book, this is actually an ebook, How to Stop Spending Like the Masses, Stack Your Coins, Increase Your Net Worth, and Build Real Wealth. All the stuff we're buying is not building us wealth. It is not. It's just stuff, right? It is just stuff. So if you want a copy of this ebook, just make sure you get in touch with me. You can text me 973-842-7927. Last but not least, I think this is my 5th book that I also launched, Faith in Finance. And so I'm going to encourage you to get the book, because come April 5th, we're going to be, right? Let me get it right here. We are going to be studying from the book, and we're going to be doing a book club reading, right? And this book club reading is about this deep dive. It's a deep dive discussion, understanding, sharing your personal stories, your testimony, and tying it to faith and finance, right? Because in everything, we're going to give God thanks, right? Even through the storm, we're going to still give him thanks. So you want to get a copy of this book. Again, to get a copy of the book, you can go to Amazon, or you can message me directly. Once it comes from me directly, I can autograph it. If it's coming from Amazon shipping, then of course it wouldn't be autographed. They'll just ship it from the warehouse. So please, 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 I make sure you get the book so we can start the book club reading on Sunday, April 5th. And for those of you who want to really take this to the next level, I invite you to come to our convention, which is going to be in Philadelphia this month. In May 1st and 2nd, we're going to be at the Hilton Philadelphia City Center. So again, the person who invited you, you can get the details from them for attending the convention. I can tell you this is an environment, even if you're like, Adara, I'm good, I don't want to do the business, still come, because this is going to be an environment for self-development, right? Self-development, stretching your mindset, seeing the possibilities, seeing what else is out there, right? Because if you stay in your box, right, you could only do so much. So it's about giving you that opportunity to see more. And if you live in New York, we're going to be having a bus that's going to pick us up at the office on Friday, May 1st at 6 a.m. Philadelphia is maybe like 2-3 hours away. So it's going to be a one night over at the hotel, right? The Hilton Philadelphia City Center. So we drive up. The convention starts at 1 o'clock on Friday. So we drive up Friday morning with the bus. We're going to have a 55-seater bus, so you don't even need to drive your car, right? And it's actually cheaper to go on the bus, because if you're driving your car, well, between the toll and the gas, you're going to spend more than $100. So let's have a bus ride, right? And this way it's fun. We get to bond, and we drive to Philadelphia together. The convention starts at 1 o'clock, and then we overnight Friday night. Saturday we continue. And then we come back on Saturday evening, right? So to get on the bus, you're going to contact Vita. Her phone number is on that flyer, right? And then, yeah, let's go change our life. So that's all the announcements. Today, I want to share 7. We may not get time to share all 7, but I want to talk about 7 principles to multiply your finances. Again, this is faith and finance. So, for those of you that have your Bible, or you can use your smartphone, I'm going to give you the verse, right? Can somebody pull up Proverbs 22:7 and read Proverbs 22:7? What does Proverb 22:7 say? And hi, Facebook. Hi, Candace. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Miss Angela. Guys, if you want to see my screen, you're going to have to get in the Zoom room, right? So I'm not ignoring you, but thanks for coming on and catching us live. So you also can pull up your Bible, right? And look for Proverbs 22:7. Proverbs 22:7. So guys, who wants to read it? Proverbs 22:7. What does it say?
The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender.
Awesome. The rich rules over the poor. Okay? The rich rules over the poor. So let's stop right there. Do we want to be rich or do we want to be poor? Come on, this is faith and finance, people. The rich rules over the poor. Do we want to be rich or do we want to be poor? That's the first question. I don't think anybody want to be poor, right? It's faith and finance, right? The rich rules over the poor. Continue. Read the other part, Elizabeth.
Verse 8 says, He who sows injustice will reap a harvest of trouble, and the rod of his wrath, with which he oppresses others, will fail.
Okay, read 22:7 again.
22:7 says, The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender.
Right. So the borrower is a slave to the lender. Mighty God. Mighty God. So who do you want to be? Who do you want to be, people? Who do we want to be? Do you want to be the slave?
Nope.
Nobody wants to be the slave, right? The rich rule over the poor. Right there, that should tell us we want to be rich. Right there. The rich rule over the poor. Right there, your mindset should be thinking, I need to be rich. Because the Bible says, the rich rule over the poor. And if you are poor, what power do you have? What bargaining power do you have? Who's listening to you? Who's going along with you? Right? So your mindset is, I need to be rich. And the borrower is a slave to the lender. So a lot of people are going to their job, even though they hate their job, because they have debt commitment that they need to pay off. Can I get an amen? You may not say it about yourself, but people are enslaved, okay? And I can tell you this from personal experience. When I first came to this country, many years ago, I bought a brand new truck. And I was enslaved for that truck. Having to pay back then $4 and change every month. I was pretty much just working to pay back that truck. I was so stressed out. The anxiety. I was a slave to this truck. Like I was just working to pay off this truck. They give me 5 years. I was so stressed out. I paid it off in 2 years. Instead of 5, the anxiety was too much. I was just working to pay off this truck. I was a slave. The borrower is a slave to the lender. So, all forms of debt, if your debt is not making you more money, if your debt is not being arbitrage or leverage, That's not good. That's not good, people. We want to make sure that we are rich, and we want to make sure that we are the lender and never the borrower. Now, yes, in certain instances, we're going to have to borrow money, but the goal is not to have this debt forever unless that debt is making you more money, unless that debt has increased your net worth, unless that debt is an asset. Now, I'm going to play devil advocates here. Most people that we know in our community, because I'm Black, I'm going to talk about our community that have debt. Is that debt a good debt or a bad debt? What do you guys think? Is that debt good or bad? What kind of debt we're seeing? What kind of debt we're seeing? What kind of debt we're seeing? Give me some examples. Can anybody give me some examples? What kind of debt? And here's why we want to pay it off, right? Because the rule of 72. So we're seeing credit card. We're seeing student loan, right? Payday loan, car loan. Like, car loan is the most stupidest form of debt, unless it's a car that's going to make you more money, right? Unless you got that car because you need to make more money, right? The number one mistake we see in our community is people flexing to look rich, but they're actually broke. They look rich, but they're actually broke. And for all forms of debt, right, there's something called the rule of 72, compound interest. If you understand this, you want to make sure that you pay off your debt fast. Because the rule of 72 tells us you take the interest divided by 72, and that's going to give you the number of years it's going to take for your money to double. So tonight we're focusing on Proverbs 22:7. You want to stay out of debt at all costs, because the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. So let's say you have your mortgage, 4%. Well, actually 4% is not even realistic. Let's go to 8%, right? Let's say you borrow $10,000 at 8%. Well, 72 divided by 8 is 9 years. Every 9 years, your debt is doubling. So you borrow 10,000, and then 9 years roll around and it doubles to 20. And then another 9 years roll around and now it doubles to 40. And another 9 years roll around, it doubled to 80. And you get the drift. But you only borrowed 10. In the long run, you're paying back 160,000. So he who knows this rule, compound interest, can either make money, and if you don't know it, you're going to lose money. And you're going to be a slave longer. You're going to be enslaved longer. And God forbid if you pass away prematurely, now that debt is still there, and then your family got to go to probate court. So what we really doing here, people, it's faith and finance. And the Bible tells us the slave is a lender. The slave is enslaved to the lender. All forms of debt, if you're on this call, and those of you on Facebook Live, all forms of debt, I don't even care if it's your mortgage, pay it off. And you might be saying, oh, that'll pay off. Yeah, there's advantages. Peace of mind, stress-free, having the monkey off your back. Because we're all one diagnostic away from things falling apart. Cancer, heart attack, and stroke will wipe out everything that you worked for so hard for the last 30 years. I've seen people who had their house for 20 years and one illness took them down and they lost that property. I've seen people who died, stopped paying their mortgage for 4 or 5 years because they were sick fighting cancer. And then when they died, the bank went down the drain. So it's like two debt. The kids lost their mom, and then the kids also lost the house. right? It's faith and finance. So tonight, the verse is Proverbs 22:7. If you have debt, your debt needs to be working for you. If it's not working for you, when I say working, making you more money, increasing your net worth, it's an asset, an income producing asset. We need to have a conversation. So get in touch with the person who invited you, and let's talk about how we could look at your debt to make sure that you become debt free sooner and you have an idea of what's going on with your debt, rather than just living life and figuring it's going to work itself out. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work itself out, right? You got to work it out. And if you do not know what you do not know, this is why you have us, right? So credit cards, for sure, we don't need to be having no 20% and 18%. Because do the math. Can somebody tell me, if you take 72 divided by 18, what's that number? Because credit card debts are about 18%, right? Some are even higher. But if we go with 18, 72 divided by 8, how much divided by 18? How much is that, people? 4 years. 4 years. So if you got credit cards, that's the first thing, right? Call your company tomorrow and find out what is the interest rate, and let's put a plan in place to become debt free sooner than later. Get a handle of your finance. Know what's going on. Because as long as you have the monkey on your back, which is this debt, it's going to be very difficult to pay. Move forward. It's going to be very difficult to it's going to be very difficult to elevate. It's going to be very difficult to grow. It's going to be very difficult to do stuff because you're enslaved to that debt. Right? So with that being said, it is 8:03, and we're going to be talking about 7 principles to multiply your finance. And the reason why you want to get a handle of your debt, because as soon as we can get rid of that debt, guess what? The money that we were putting to pay off the debt, what are we going to do with that money now? We're going to put it to good use. And we're not going to go back into debt unless it's an arbitrage debt that's going to make us more money or increase your net worth or generate cash flow, right? We don't want stupid debt. Stupid debt is like the credit card, whatever. Guys, I read an article. I don't remember the exact number, but there's people who are retired still paying student loan. I'm going to find that article. People who are retired still paying student loan. They don't know this information. They took out student loan in their 20s and their 30s, and now they're in their 60s, and they're still paying student loan. Can you imagine? Guys, right? It's crazy. So tonight we're focusing on debt. Let's put a plan in place to make sure you understand what's going on with your debt. The first thing I will tell you is, if for all of your debt, call the institution and get the interest rate. Once you get the interest rate, you're going to take 72 divided by the interest, and that will give you the number of years it's going to take for the debt to double. And the plan is to pay it off before it doubles, right? If whatever you're doing right now, you can't pay it off, we got to do 2 things. We either got to put ourselves in position to make more money. This is why you're going to talk to the person who invited you, so you can learn about our business opportunity and make more money, right? From the comfort of your home, right? You either could make more money or you're going to spend less. And we're not spending less. This is why I wrote my 6th book, right? Most people are not spending less. They're still spending. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Tonight's piece was focusing on debt, and your homework, because as a professor, I love to give homework, right? You're in class right now. Your homework is to tabulate all of your debt, credit card, student loan, mortgage, car loan, all the loans that you have, right? Get the interest rate, call the company, get the interest rate, right? And once you know the interest rate, divide that by 72, and let's put a plan in place to help you become debt free. Because trust me, it's a good feeling when you're debt free, right? You're not enslaved anymore, right? People don't control you. You control them, right? You control your future. So thank you guys so much. We will see you on 8 o'clock. Well, it's 8:06. So we'll see you at 8:06 for the next the next webinar, which is purely finance. And then again, tomorrow, Monday, at 7 and 10. So thank you guys so much for coming on. And again, please contact the person who invited you tonight to get more information. If there's something that we said that resonated with you, that you need more info on, you want to have a conversation with us, connect with us, and we're here to share this knowledge, right? It's a sin if we keep it to ourselves. So thank you guys so much, and make it a blessed week. And I'm going to pull up one more time. Here's the Zoom info for the 8 o'clock webinar that started about 7 minutes ago. So thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you back here next Sunday for Faith and Finance, where we'll continue those 7 principles. So make sure you keep note, because when we come back on, we're going to talk about what did we discuss today, right? As part of our 7 principles series to multiplying your finance, because once you become debt free, you have more money to save and invest, right? Thank you guys. All right, Facebook, please make sure that you join us next week. We are discussing 7 principles, right? It's faith and finance, faith. If you do not have this book, get in touch with me so you can get your own autographed copy, Faith and Finance. Come April 5th, we're going to be reading from the book club. And these next couple of weeks, we're focusing on 7 biblical principles that will help you multiply your finances, right? So thank you guys so much for joining us.